Hey, I'm Alison Wonderland, and I'm going to teach you guys how to DJ. I'm going to teach you the very basics. I'm going to strip it back. Disclaimer, this is not the be-all and end-all of DJing. There are different techniques. I'm just going to teach you my technique. So first of all, we have 2 decks right now. They're called CDJs. Another option you can use is vinyl, but I play on CDJs. And it's just the digital version of vinyl. Then we have the mixer. Now, the mixer is what outputs the audio from the CDJs and the decks to the speakers. These are all connected, and this is connected to the speakers. A really good analogy for 2 decks and a speaker is, say you're playing Xbox or PlayStation, the decks are the 2 controllers or the controller, and then this is the actual console. The mixer would be the console, and then the TV would be the speakers. The equipment we're using today is the Pioneer CDJ 2000, Nexus 2, and the Pioneer DJM 900, which is a very standard club standard and festival standard setup. These are what you will most likely see 90% of the time. So I'm going to turn on the decks, and I'm going to show you guys what everything does. I'm going to skip the really detailed stuff because we are sticking to the basics today. So I'm just going to show you the really simple buttons and what settings I play in and why. Now, let's play a track. We're just going to focus on one CDJ for now so that you can be familiar with what it does. Also, I will add that I do play in, there's a thing called the jog mode button, and I play in vinyl mode. There's also a CDJ mode. Vinyl mode, it has been designed to kind of replicate playing on vinyl decks, so you can scratch with it, and it just has slightly different features to the CDJ one, but I've always stuck to vinyl, and I will continue to use it. I'm just going into my royalty-free folder so that we don't have this these lessons taken down, and I'm gonna go with uplifting hip-hop right now because why not? We all need a bit of uplifting, and so this is the play button and the pause button. Play, pause, play, pause. So now we know what the play button does. So that's how you actually start a track. Another way to start a track is the cue button. Now the cue button is a really important button to me. I love DJing with it and using it for different creative things. And it's a simple way to be creative with different tracks and layering without using the more advanced techniques. A cue button also plays the track. Every time you lift off the cue button, it's actually going to stop the music. So what you want to do is do this. Oops, sorry, I fucked that up. What you want to do is this. And see, as I was holding down the cue button, I actually pressed the play button, and it'll keep playing. So I'm going to move on now to the master tempo. The master tempo button is also a really important one for me. I play in a mode where I keep the master tempo light on. Now every track, just as a side note, has a different BPM, which means beats per minute. So, some tracks are made slower than others and some tracks are made faster, kind of like a heartbeat, exactly like a heartbeat. Now, the master tempo staying on means that when you slow a track down and you speed it up, it actually won't change the pitch. If you listen to an old vinyl player or use an old vinyl player and you do speed it up or slow it down, you do notice that it sounds really low or really high if it's slower or faster. And also if you are doing a song which is in the same key, it's going to become out of key. And it's not going to sound it's not going to really flow as well. So let's put the master tempo on and keep playing the song, and I'll adjust the speed, and you will notice me adjusting the speed way less, which is going to make it easier for you to mix different genres and different tracks together way more smoothly. So, way more smoothly. I'm really sorry, guys. I cannot speak sometimes, especially when I'm talking about DJing, because I have so many thoughts because I love it so much and it's all I think about. So we're slowing it down. Speeding it up. Now let's just quickly move on to the mixer so you can understand simply what it does. This is called the booth monitor. knob, and what that does, it will adjust the booth monitor. The booth monitor is the speaker that is next to your ear while you play, because all the speakers that are getting played out in the crowd are not facing you, and as we know with sound, it travels really strangely and it will bounce off things and you will not be able to hear the track properly when it's getting played out loud. So this is immediate and right next to you and you'll be able to hear it. This will just adjust the volume. I actually like to do my mixes using the booth monitor. So if you have seen me DJ before, you'll notice that my headphones are usually just around my neck while I'm actually doing a mix, because I'm listening to the booth monitor. These cue buttons are allowing you to mix things in using your headphones, because you can have the volume all the way down and put this cue button on like this, and you'll be able to hear the music only through your headphones. So while there's a track playing out loud to the crowd, you're able to hear what you're doing in the other one and get it all prepared. There's 4 channels on this mixer, which means that you can potentially have 4 different decks lined up to this mixer, but today we're just using 2. Now, the different channels means each represents each deck. To find out what channel your deck is going through, the best thing to do is to cue up a track, either press the cue button, which will play the sound, or the play button, which will play the sound, and you will see that channel 1 is lighting up, which means that your track is going through channel 1, and that's the channel you need to focus on in order to bring up the sound and create things with it. So in order to make the music that you've got queued up on this deck be heard out loud to the crowd, you have to always move the volume up like this. The cue button, which I earlier said was one of my favorite buttons because you can be really creative with, is almost used as a sort of bookmark in between the track. So you can actually change the part of the track that you want to press play on and have it start by queuing it up. Queuing it up means that you press play, and then you pause it where you want to start, where you want to place the bookmark, as in press the cue button and mark a different area of the track that you want to start the track at. So I'm starting it at when the drums come in on the 1 beat. So we're going to go from the start. I'm going to count with you, because everything in most tracks, unless you're very avant-garde and really interesting, you'll be counting 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you always want to cue up on the 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Now the drums come in. 1. Okay. Now I pressed pause a little bit after when the first kick drum sound came in. So this is where my other favorite thing on the decks, which is called the jog wheel, comes in. Now, the jog wheel is this thing. It's the thing that looks like the vinyl, and you can use it to reach a point that you may have just missed when you press pause, and it actually zooms in and kind of micro finds things for you. So can you hear where there's that louder kind of like punch in the sound? If you want to cue the track up just like a millisecond before the hardest part of that punch comes in. Okay, I can hear it. Now to me, that still sounds a little bit early, so I want to go press play really, and then like move it one little thing over. And now the track's going to start from where the drums come in. There are 2 settings on this CDJ that are kind of controversial. I do not use them to play my tracks. I actually manually do everything, but a lot of people use the sync button. The sync button means that it is going to match the beat of the track that's playing out loud already. So it's way less work. I don't necessarily use it for myself. I'm not going to be closed-minded or, tell anyone it's wrong, but I just personally find it more fun to treat this like an instrument. And then the quantize button, which I'm turning on right now so you can see it. I'm turning it off again. I do not use this because I just prefer to still have a slightly organic feel to my DJing, even though I am on decks. Quantize it button, what it will do is it'll always make sure that you press play on the beat. Not necessarily that hard to do without the button. So I don't think you guys need it. Okay, so essentially I've told you what the decks do and I've given you a little bit of a lesson on very, very basics of a mixer. What we're gonna do in the next lesson is learn how to beat match. I'll be back next week. I'm Alison Wonderland. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, this is the very basics of DJing. So all you DJ snobs, shh, right now. This is for anyone that's never DJed before. Again, my technique is not the be-all and end-all of how to DJ, but I'm just showing you what I've learned and the technique that I use. This is the industry standard. And don't forget to stay open-minded, stay creative, play the music that you love, and experiment and take risks. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.